Hey guys, what is going on? So, I really want to jump on this as soon as possible because this is crazy. I honestly do think that Scopely is going to backtrack on this. The the outpour from the community has been ridiculous. And what this is all about is this is all about removing con swarm events. And con, anyone in chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but con was in the rewards from the start of the swarm event for as long as I can remember. And keep in mind, you need to buy a ship to hunt swarm. You can hunt swarm with other ships, whatnot. But they're marketing a ship based on these rewards, and then all of a sudden they're like, gotcha, we're going to switch this up because we want people mining in augment space. And this is what we're all really upset about is we have no problem spending on this game. A lot of us love to spend on this game. But don't bait and switch us. Don't say it is this and you got to pay $100 for this and then say, "Oh, you know what? A survey from you guys have said you want crappier rewards. So we're going to give you crappier rewards." I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all. The outpouring from the community has been crazy. I'm just going to go ahead and read some of this comment from the players. Mike H12 says, I was 30 shards from unlocking con. They've taken away yet another reason to keep playing this game for me. Okam's Razor says, I only pushed myself to kill those 188 level 32 swarms for the con shards. Now, unless they add con to the ultra rare pool, I have no reason to go past 94 kills. Turmoil says, literally almost no reason to grind Swarm Sunday aside from crystal and trit rewards. Con shards were almost the only reason to do them now. And now that I'm 32, I need to kill a ridiculous amount to complete the events. And for me, once I hit level 32, it was about 188 level 32 Swarm I had to hit. And hey, Imran, how's it going? And David says, I have to kill 525 level 32 swarms. And if your Franklin isn't up to speed, then you can't do that. And you got to take your Saladin or whatever Explorer you have. And Flying Dutchman says, Crystal has been taken away, at least for levels 30 and 31. Let me see. I know Talostastic basically sent me a poo emoticon and said that's his opinion. So what it really boils down to is greed. This is all about greed. No player would actually advocate for ultra recruit shards of packs. I think you might get a full pack by doing all of the tiers of the event, which is 10 shards of random officers, and they're usually not the officers you want. Definitely not going to be of con, which everyone needs. And everyone needs it to do their station raids. And David says, it's bad enough. I need 7.2 million frequency mods just to finish cheering up to 9 on my Franklin. And that's really the other point is not only is it not just buying the ship, but you have to buy the pack to tear it up. Otherwise, there's no way you're going to be hitting level 32 swarms in your Franklin. This is mind-boggling to me. And this reminds me of the faction lock issue of how a lot of players had to kind of band together and say, no, this isn't right. We worked our butts off for this. David says, players ultra recruit tokens payout for a midweek swarm event is okay, I guess. Scopely hears the community wants ultra recruit tokens for all swarm events. And Tim says, disagree, I maxed mine for free, but it does take a lot of grinding. And that is true. He does say that you can definitely do it for free. but everyone has been grinding week after week after week for free for those con shards. And now those are completely gone. You have to go and mine in augment space and watch a miner, probably every 10 seconds and refresh a node. And I don't know about a lot of you guys, but I don't want to I don't want to sit on a node every 10 seconds and move my ship on and off of that node because it isn't fun. Plus, there's a lot of stupidity that happens down in augment space, especially around events. A lot of stupid wars start up, which is probably very good for Scopely. But here's the thing. This is my biggest beef. If they were to come out with the event and say, you spend $50 on this ship, you spend $100 on an upgrade pack, or you can grind it out, and these are the rewards you're going to get. That's great. That's awesome. However, when you do that with the caveat of 6 or 9 months into it and say, you know what, we're going to change it and give you crappier rewards. That's the issue that we have. And David even says, I hate mining data. And Dave says, even with data mining, we are stuck with a 24-hour cooldown to get augment credits. A really good point. We can't just keep on grinding and get unlimited rewards for whatever we are mining. We have to wait, and we can only get a very small amount every day. And Tiago says, man, I'm 5 shards away from tearing Khan up. Was going to do it this weekend. 2020, what a nightmare. I mean, what they're doing would definitely in sync with all the crap that's going on in the world and what else will happen now. Mike says if they put Khan in the Ultra Pool, then it's slightly less worse, but it's going to be so much more difficult to get Khan now. And that's literally what they want to happen. They don't want people to easily obtain a great officer like Khan. If they did, they would leave him in Swarm Sunday and to allow people to keep doing it. I know players who have 2 fully maxed out Franklins who go at it simply for the con shards. And these players are in the upper 40s. And they don't care. They just want the con shards. They want to have the best rating captain there is in the game. And so this is really going to change it. I think one way a lot of people can get the attention of Scopely is simply just ignoring Swarm Sunday. David says Scopely need to, 1, add all the new epic officers introduced in the Ultra. Damn it. I lost that chat. One thing I hate about streaming on my tablet is I lose the chat so quickly. But also allow us to buy con shards from the Augment store, not just the one-time pack. Swarm 1 is the reasons why not leveling my station past 31, waiting until Franklin Tier 7, Mara, and con shards. Scopely is so good at conducting business. They understand that happy people spend money. And that's very true. Scopely is very good at kind of taking a look, and they're really looking at people who are, what are they spending money on? And what kind of events are getting adapted by the players? What kind of events are engaging those players? Do they have a full player pool playing an event? They consider that a success. So even if those are crap rewards in that event, players are still going to play it because it's free rewards. Scopely, in their eye, that's going to say a success because they have players playing those events. Now, if they launch an event and they get, 50% of their player base that usually plays events playing this event, they're probably going to take a look at that and say, okay, what is going on here? And ultimately, if they don't listen to all of the voices going on in their Discord right now, that is ultimately something people need to make up for their own. Maybe, have everyone agree, this Swarm Sunday, we're just going to skip out on it. We want to send a message to Scopely saying this is not okay. We want the event the way it was marketed to us when we bought the Franklin, because people today are still asking me, should I buy the Franklin? Is it farmable? Is it worth the cost? Because I think it's something small like $20 or so. I'm not sure about that. And my advice to that is, it is actually really good for hunting swarm, but only swarm. So now you are stuck with a ship that is good for nothing and gets you measly rewards. And so I honestly think that with the amount of swarm we have to grind past level 32, it's crazy. It's not even worth doing anymore. So ultimately, I'm curious to see what Scopely would do with this. And Frank does say it is $49.99, not $20. So that is a heftier cost for an event that is not rewarding. So ultimately, a lot of players have the Franklin in the game, but there's so many more new players coming up. I've recruited all these newer players, and Mike says the combined with discovering that the pack prices are higher on iOS than Android, July is off to a great start. And I actually think that has to do with the platform and some legal issues about each platform. A little bit of insurance there, I think, but and that's just my opinion. Um, but they have so many new players that are coming into the game that are wondering. I had a player talking to me about a Botany Bay. How do I get my Botany Bay? There's a big bug in the game. And David says, not to mention the packs you need to upgrade it to a decent level to be able to use against the swarms you need to hit. It's very true. Let me show you guys mine. Mine is nothing. It has, because it's only tier 5. I still have to upgrade the weapons. I need the frequency modulators. I need 270k for each gun, and then I can tier it up to 6. I was in no big rush to do it. I actually asked some other players their advice on buying the upgrade pack, and all of them said to not to, and to just grind it out. So I never did. So yeah, this is a really crazy change. I really do hope that they switch this back to including con. Now, I would say about Mara, I think Mara, I have her, and Charles says, I'm sitting at 29 until I get my Franklin at tier 7. I don't mind swarms when I can rip through 45 plus level 28s. Very true. The 28s are very simple. And maybe that is that if they are unwilling to change the rewards back, then to change those levels and what people can hit. Because for me to have to hit 188 32s, my Franklin can't handle a 32 right now. It blows up. My Saladin can. My Saladin can rip through, I would say probably about, with the right crew, about 15 32s. But that's 15, and I need to hit about 190. That's a considerable amount of resources. That's 300,000 titanium per repair. That's 12 repairs. My Franklin needs 1.2 million frequency modulators per gun. I can only hit 12 level 32s. So that's ultimately the issue, is if I were to do that, I'm burning through 3-4 million titanium for these little rewards. Do you know when they will come back with events that come with ship blueprints? I need to know the answer, please, from Ron. I don't know the answer, Ron. My tier 8 Franklin can hit 40 level 32s. So definitely a tier 8 Franklin is a nice thing to have. It definitely will require a lot of grinding. And but he can only hit 2 level 35s. So ultimately, this is how it's going to boil down for Scopely. They have to make that decision whether or not they're going to reintroduce. I think Mara should be swapped out for Harrison, considering how much resources a lot of us who don't have the Franklin but have to hit 32s, and every other player, the amount of resources and the amount of time they're putting into this event. I honestly think they should put Harrison into this event. And maybe since Harrison is such an OP crew member, maybe maybe do some talks with the community. Would you rather have Harrison versus Khan? Do you really want Khan in there? Who, would you swap Zoe for Mara? That sort of thing. Because I think I have Mara, I have her way far up. I haven't seen her worth the upgrade costs. And let's take a look for her. Let's see. Here she is. So I have her, and she's probably on another ship. She is on another ship. That one that's mining. But right now, she is requiring badges, and she is requiring Klingon faction credits, and it's not something that's worth it to me. So I'm fine with keeping her where she is right now. But I would love for them to introduce, or they could give us an event store and choice, Mike says. And he has a really good point. I think what we've kind of shown Scopely, and Dave says replacing Mara with Zoe on Swarm Sunday would be awesome. And I think that's a really good point, because Zoe, he needs several tiers to do anything. So having basic tiers on him does nothing for him. I think he would be a really good person to swap in for Mara. Mara's good with the Explorer ship fighting against Interceptor. I never go for Interceptor hostiles, mainly because I find that they do more damage and more crits. And I like fighting Explorers, and I like fighting battleships. So I never use Mara for that. Plus, I always use my NPC crews. But here's the thing is, I would really encourage a conversation with the community before you make a change like this. And so, yeah, I'm just reading the chat right here. So I would definitely suggest a deep, in-depth conversation with the community, who they would want to see in those rewards to make it worth shooting 200 ships that they have to repair after every 10 ships, and figuring out some other thing, because I think we have so many other events that gives us Ultra Recruit packs. We don't need a daily or a weekly Ultra Recruit pack when it costs us 4 million tritanium to repair our ships. Now, that doesn't include the people that have Franklins that can go and attack and kill these. They're still hitting a lot of ships and a lot of time invested in that. So just keep that in mind, Scopely. And so, yeah, so somebody made a point of just changing the event. And I think that's a really good point, is instead of changing the rewards in an ongoing event, I do believe that it should have been a whole new event, something very different with Swarm. And speaking to that point, where is the Borg daily? Honestly, people spent all this money on a Vidar and cheered it up and got it rocking. And now the Vidars are like, what are we doing with it? There's no daily in there for hunting Borg probes. The Borg event has kind of been forgotten. And this is my issue with any kind of specific ships that Scopely comes up with, is if you're going to sell something to the players that costs in the ballpark of $100, like a ship, make sure that's an ongoing event, and make sure that's a rewarding event that's going forward. Otherwise, there really is no point for buying a ship for a 3-part event, and then that's it. So I think that's what I wanted to say to Scopely. If you guys have, the Vidar is good for faction independent credits. So that is a good point. And there is that you can refine those Borg nanoprobes into faction credits and faction points. But I really want to see something in the dailies, like we have for Swarm, something that's going to help people hitting their dailies. For some people, hitting their dailies can be a difficult thing, and having rewards stacked in there as well. Just reading through the chat here. So I'm going to leave it at that. I got to go back to work here, but I just want to throw this up really quick, get some input. Thank you guys for paying attention, for talking about this. Keep talking about the issue until we see some change, and I will talk to everyone later.